Hi everyone! Good day to all of you. My name is Krisa May Emily Isaga and my partner is Miss Nikki Lugmao. Today we're going to discuss to you the why and how of school and community partnership. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain what school and community partnership means and explain the legal and sociological basis of school and community partnership. And for the last one, set examples of school and community partnership. But before we proceed to our discussion, I will give you an activity. Number 1, based on your experiences, list down ways by which a school helped a community. Come up with an exhaustive list. Number 2, after that, you're going to group yourselves by 6. Then compare your list with each other. And after that, if you're done comparing your list, you are going to come up with the final list in which community helps schools and in which school helps community. Are you done? If you're done, we're going to proceed to the next one. Let's analyze. Based on your group list, a real partnership between school and community? Or do you find one party like the school, which is more favored because it gets more help than the other? You can defend your answer. Now we are done with our activity and analysis. That is why we are going to proceed now to the topic. Let's conceptualize. Opportunities for school, community, partnership. Partnership implies two parties helping each other. Both parties benefit. This means that if school-community partnership exists, both parties benefit from the relationship. Now that we're done in the definition of opportunities for school-community partnership, I'm going to discuss the examples of what community can do for schools and what school can do for community. What can the community do for schools? Here are examples of what a community can do for schools. We have here 6 examples. We have Brigada Eskwela, Curriculum Development, Work Experience Program, Remediation and Enrichment Classes, Youth Development Programs, and the last one, Community Service. What is Brigada Eskwela? It is a program to engage all education stakeholders to contribute their time, effort, and resources in ensuring that public school facilities are set in time for the forthcoming school opening. Brigada Eskwela takes place more or less 2 weeks before classes begin in June. What is curriculum development? Meaning, use of community resources for learning, for example, museum. This can mean use of community resources for research for learning. What is work experience program? Business establishment and offices in the community can serve as training ground of learners. Concrete example of work experience program is the work immersion, which requires for senior high school student. In this work immersion, students are given the opportunity to work in relevant establishment or offices in the community to help them develop their competencies, work ethic, and values relevant to pursuing further education and or joining the world of work. Partner offices for immersion provide senior high school students with the opportunity to become familiar with the workplace, for employment stimulation, and to apply their competencies in areas of specialization or applied subjects in authentic work environments, in closer to the DepEd Order number 33, 2017. In this school-community partnership, the school can fulfill what curriculum requires and be improved on their curriculum based on community feedback, enables the student to undergo hands-on workplace work experience, while community establishment contribute to the formation of graduates who are more ready for life and more equipped for the world of work. Business establishment or any world of work in the community are the ultimate beneficiaries of these graduates who have been more prepared to work immersion. Some schools call this learning since it involves students in a wide range of work experiences which benefits student and community at the same time filling the requirement of a curriculum. What is remediation and enrichment classes? In the remediation and enrichment classes, parents and retired teacher can be involved in the school reading, remediation, and learning enrichment program. In this program, the young may involve themselves in youth development programs and develop their skills and talents, learn how to deal positively with peers and adults, and serve as resources in their communities. What is community service? Community service is a project where students are engaged in to render service to people or make the community better. Yan, halimbawa yun ay pagtatanim, ganyan, planting. What can schools do for communities in return? Schools may allow the community to use school resources. Here are concrete examples enumerated by the DepEd Premier on school-community partnership. 1. Classroom used by community organizations for meetings.
Hello everyone, I'm Nikki Lugmao and now I'm about to discuss sociological basis and legal basis of school and community partnership. Partnership implies two parties helping each other. Both parties benefit. It's not as if you can assert that the only other side will benefit more because the phrase partnership implies that they will collaborate. They are working together as one. Therefore, both sides will prosper in a variety of ways, depending on what each side can provide towards the other. Now, the functionalist theory states that institutions must perform their respective function for the stability of society. Other institutions must come in, and if one institution fails to do its part for the sake of society, the school cannot do it all. According to African proverb, it takes a village to educate a child. It has to work in a partnership with other institutions in the community such as the church, government organizations, and non-governmental organizations. With the breakdown of families, schools face greater challenge in educating the young. As a result, for youngsters to thrive in a safe and healthy environment, the society should engage with them. So we have here parents, schools, church, and other institutions. The rearing and education of the child is the primary obligation of parents, meaning the primary person responsible for nurturing, guiding, and educating children is their parents. The school, the church, and the other social institutions come in to assist parents and families to fulfill their irreplaceable obligation. These institutions guide and aid parents and families in carrying out their irreplaceable responsibility. Breakdown of marriage, the demand for both mother and father to work to meet the demands of a rising cost of living, resulting to less or practically no more time for parents to spend time with their children. However, attack the stability of families and have adversely affected families in the performance of their irreplaceable duty to educate children. Added to this is the increasing number of families composed of single mothers struggling to raise a family, with the burden of earning lodged solely on the shoulders of one parent. Single parents struggle to earn enough to provide for their families. Consequently, this responsibility leads further having a limited amount of time to spend for and with growing and developing children. Now, let's move on to legal basis for parents and community involvement. RA 9155 Governance of Basic Education Act Section E10 explicitly states that one of the responsibilities of school heads is establishing schools and community networks and encouraging the active participation of teacher, organization, non-academic personnel of public schools and parents community association. So with the help of those people involved, we can provide a better education for our students. Also, in Section 3 of the same Act, it encouraged local initiatives for the improvement of schools and learning centers and to provide the means by which improvements may be achieved and sustained. This act can assist learners accept responsibility for their actions in a more conducive environment. The community and parents can contribute to the improvements of schools and learning centers, like for example, the beautification of schools facilities that can assist their child or learners in improving their skills and knowledge. It also tells that school head has the power, obligation, and accountability for attaining greater academic achievement. Next, Batas Pambansa Bilang 232, otherwise known as the Education Act of 1982, Section 7 states that every educational institution shall provide for the establishment of appropriate bodies through which the members of the educational community may discuss relevant issues and communicate information and suggestion for assistance and support of the school and for the promotion of their common interests. So, the school and community collaboration is strengthened. Example is the PTA meetings in schools. PTA meetings are held to address issues pertaining to schools or students, as well as what must be achieved for the development of the schools or the learners. Let's assume the school requires something that the school cannot supply or afford due to a shortage of funds. In that case, they can seek assistance from the community or parents to help to achieve their objectives. Representatives from each subgroups of the educational community shall sit and participate in these bodies, the rules and procedures of which must be approved by them and July published. This implies that the school and community, when they have conference, everybody must have a bodies or representatives that can go to the meeting so that they can share appropriate measures of they desire to do or what they really want to attain. We have another law which is RA 8525, Adopt a School Program Act, also provides for school community partnership. It allows private entities to assist a public school, whether elementary, secondary, or tertiary, in but limited to the following areas: staff and faculty development of training and further education, construction of facilities, upgrading of existing facilities, provision of books, publications and other instructional materials, and modernization of instructional technology. So even the Philippine Education for All or EFA 2015 plan, then a vision and holistic program of reforms that aim to improve the quality of basic education for every Filipino by end 2015 likewise states, schools shall continue to harness local resources and facilitate involvement of every sector of the community in the school improvement process. Therefore, by the year 2015, Ideas for School Community Partnership, known as the Philippine Education for All or EFA 2015 initiative, were all in the works. These documents also supports the school community partnership, stating that school must continue to utilize local resources. This means that educators can seek support for the community for the enhancement of the school, as well as other amenities. Having or seeking approval from the community is not an issue because it is for the development of the school facilities for all the students. This EFA 2015 plan was extended in education for all beyond 2015 Agenda 2030. Agenda 2030 has 7 new educational targets for 2015 to 2030 that must involve education stakeholders, which in essence is school community partnership. This stakeholder is the school and the community. UNESCO Assistant Director General for Education, Dr. Kian Tang, himself admit that Agenda 2030 cannot be realized without schools partnering with community. So, what does this imply? This indicates that without the school or the community, Agenda 2030 will be impossible to achieve because schools should be supported by the community, not just the school itself. So, as Dr. Kian Tang stated, it is not solely the responsibility of the school, rather the community must assist the school. So, Dr. Kian Tang said, our vision must be more aggressive, more committed, not just involving government, non-government agencies, but all stakeholders. So, as I previously stated, schools should not be the only ones planning for the improvement of facilities and projects for students. Stakeholders should be included in the plan and decision-making process for that project. Now, let's move on to RA 9155. It states that partnership between school and community also ensures that number 1, educational programs, projects, and services take into account the interest of all members of the community, section 3. Number 2, the schools and learning centers reflect the values of the community by allowing teachers or learning facilitator and other staff to have this flexibility to serve the needs of all learners. Number 3, local initiatives for the improvement of schools and learning centers are encouraged, and the means by which these improvements may be achieved and sustained are provided. So schools and communities function better when they work as a team. So just like what I said, schools is not the one who take responsibilities. Community should also care for the betterment of the students. This is the end of our discussion. Now, let's go to application. Let's apply. Number 1, illustrate with a cartoon or a diagram the partnership between school and community. So this is the diagram that shows the partnership between schools and community. Number 2, develop a tool to evaluate the extent and quality of school and community partnership. To evaluate the extent and quality of the school and community partnership, the schools must be done some activities like parenting and family skills. Schools can help families improve on their strengths and parenting abilities. Ask families about their children's strengths, goals, and learning styles. School can help families find resources and support to help them raise their children. Communicating. Schools that communicate may plan and carry out practical strategies. Volunteering. Seek and arrange volunteer support from friends, family, and the community. Decision making. To build leaders and represent all families in the school, include parents in school decisions. So like what I said on what I discussed, includes parent representatives on the school's advisory council, improvement team, site-based management team, or other committees, since school has PTA meeting. Number 3, pretend you're an instructor or professor in this professional course, the teacher and the community school culture and organizational leadership. Your lesson has this learning outcome. to explain the sociological and legal basis of school and community partnership. How will you proceed? Deliver your lecture. So, as your teacher, I will explain the social and legal foundations among school and community, as well as their significance and link to it. What are the sociological and legal foundation? The study of a social institution and how individual experiences influence education and its outcome is known as the social base of education. Education is concerned with all forms of education in modern industrial societies, official and informal education systems. Legal bases are measures that place restriction on both teachers and the students in order to avoid situations in which the rights of both parties are violated. Considering these legal foundations can assist us in determining what a teacher is required to accomplish, and conversely. Collaboration entails two parties assisting one another. Both parties profit from the relationship, which indicates that if a school-community collaboration occurs, both parties can benefit. And number 4, school and community partnership enhances sense of ownership and sense of belonging. What do this means? How will this impact on schools and communities? So, students choose to be in an environment that makes them feel a sense of fit, according to Professor De Leon Gray. Students who feel a sense of belonging at schools are typically more energized, more likely to spend time on tasks and return to activities, and more likely to choose to be in the school environment, according to Gray. This implies students are engaging with their community. Establishing relationships in the community provides community members a sense of responsibility and ownership over students' learning, which encourage people to become more involved in helping their local schools. Now, we have here takeaways. School and community partnership means school head, teachers, learners, parents of learners, and non-teaching personnel working together with civic and religious leaders, alumni, other parents, non-government organizations, government organizations for the good of children. Upbringing of children is the main and irreplaceable duty and responsibility of the family, but with the weakening influence of the family on the upbringing of children, and with children's unlimited exposure to modern technology like the internet, the challenge for schools to teach the young has become even greater. So schools cannot do it all. They have to partner with community. In this partnership, children, the primary customers of schools, are most benefited, but school and community are likewise mutually benefited. RA 9155, also known as the Governance of Basic Education Act, BP 232, which is the Education Act of 1982, RA 8525, Adopt a School Program Act, and Agenda 2030 stipulate school and community partnership. There are many opportunities for schools and community partnership. The Brigada Eskwela, which is now institutionalized in DepEd schools, is a glaring proof of school and community partnership. Schools, with all its human and material resources, can offer services also to the community in many ways. At the end of this chapter, you are going to answer these following activities. Let's check for understanding, take it to the net, let's reflect, and let's clean chairs.